and maybe you've actually downsized your business because of this. And the only way you feel to, I suppose, to keep the business going while maintaining your sanity is to have less people in it. And that comes at a cost too, because now it eats at your ambition. You know there's more potential and capability, but you can't really access it because hiring more people just means more headaches. Welcome to the Grounded Man podcast by Deru. I am your host, John Douglas, and founder of Deru. And this space is for hardworking men building businesses, carrying responsibility, and providing for their families who feel they should be freer. You see, the world has changed, and leading through hard work and long hours now limits a man's influence. The new way is mastering the inner game of leadership so you can carry it well, enjoy what you're building, and still feel free. Deru is leadership for the 21st century. Did you ever find yourself giving tasks to somebody else, asking somebody to do something in your business, and only to have it land back on your desk, only to see it done, but only 80% done right, only seeing it after it's completed, but there's a client complaining about something that's happened? You see, in the whole scheme of business, obviously we're trying to be more successful. We're trying to achieve more. Now, the only way we can achieve more, well, the first step is do more, okay? But then that reaches a limit that you can't do any more or else you lose your freedom. And so therefore you need to have people around you. But to have people around you now, it changes the dynamics of the game, because now it's not about doing more, providing a better service or achieving better results. It's actually more about leading other people to do that. And so it changes the dynamics and it changes the game. And so when you have people around you, obviously you're going to give them roles and responsibilities and give them tasks to do and things to do. And you're going to pay them money and for their time, basically. And so you're expecting that by paying somebody for their time, that you get their whole skill set, that you get their full attention, full thinking for that time. Or maybe you don't expect 100% of it, but you at least expect a good deal of their attention to be focused on the work at hand so that they come back with good quality work done on time, so you don't have any headaches. But you've probably found that that's not always the case. And maybe you struggle over and over again with this, and maybe you've actually downsized your business because of this. And the only way you feel to keep the business going while maintaining your sanity is to have less people in it. And that comes at a cost too, because now it eats at your ambition. You know there's more potential and capability, but you can't really access it because hiring more people just means more headaches. And so ultimately what you want to do is you want to be free from this. You want to have a culture of ownership. And what a culture of ownership is that you have people who are taking care, who are tending to, let's say your business is a forest, who are tending to that forest, nurturing it, taking stewardship of it. Not people who are just showing up to clock in and do work. The majority of people care about what they do, about who they work with, about the meaning in the work that they do. But sometimes we don't always get the best out of people on that front. But if we can get the best out of people and get people to take ownership as if they own the business themselves, or as close as we can get them to that, well, then they start to take ownership. And if they take ownership, that means that you can go away, you can take 2 weeks holidays and not have to worry about anything. You can leave your laptop at home. You don't have to do work when you should be with your family. You're free from all that. You can switch off and be there for dinner time, be there to coach them in the evenings at sport, be there to drop them places on a Saturday morning, whatever that is. You're free to do that. And that's ultimately what we want. So if we want that, and you're struggling to get that, and you're questioning maybe questioning yourself at this stage, your own leadership ability, your own capability to lead people, I want to take you through a short few steps, I suppose, to reframe this and rethink about this whole journey. Because I think there's a big gap here. And the gap is that we're focused on the work and not on the people. Because if you think about what you've built in your business over the last number of years, you've built teams, you've built people, you've built trust, you've built clients, you've built a reputation, you've built a brand. They're the things that we really care about. And so they're very human things. So the things that actually are most important to you are very human. And that's how you know you're a caring nature, because you value all those things, the connection, the relationships, the partnerships. But somewhere along the way, and maybe just through the conditioning of the workplace, when it comes to work, we kind of put work before people. And we talk about the tasks, and we talk about the jobs, and we talk about the KPIs, and we talk about the systems, and we talk about the structures, and we talk about the strategy. And then somewhere along the way, the people are thrown in, lumped in on top of that. And so there might be too much focus on actually managing tasks. Instead, maybe the focus should be on mentoring people. So maybe the focus should not be on delegating jobs to do, but actually developing owners. Because if you want people to take ownership, then you need more owners in your business so that the culture becomes a culture of ownership. And so this is different. This is a more of a sequence. So it's not forgetting about the work. It's about putting the people first and letting their, I suppose, growth and potential and performance actually get the work done seamlessly. So maybe too much focus is put on the actual tasks and not on the person doing the tasks. And if you read any great leadership books, it always comes back to the leaders or the people in the business that are driving it. Business, I believe, is like over 90% about people. So therefore, if you want to grow a business, you have to know how to grow people. And growing people doesn't just mean paying them more money. Because sometimes we think, I'm paying good money for this guy. He should be doing the work. He should know. He should be well capable of this. But we miss the point. Because that person is a human being. Okay, they are getting paid good money. But most of the time, you're paying for their time. So when you're paying them money, you're just paying them to actually be there. If you want them to start thinking and taking ownership, well, in fact, if you want them to take ownership, you need to get them to start thinking. And the only way you get somebody to start thinking is that when they're self-motivated and they're driven, they're hungry. And so you have to know their goals every bit as much as they need to know your goals. Because if you don't know each other's goals, how the hell can we take ownership for you as a boss to take responsibility to them and for them as an employee to take responsibility for the business? You need to know each other's goals. It's key, it's paramount, because then you know what drives each other. So they know what you want, they have a clear vision of what you want, of how you want their role to be, and they know what they want, and they know where they want to be in their career, and they know you're supporting them. Because ownership requires people to care about their work and care about the business and care about the team and care about things. Ownership requires people to care. And the only way people care about things is when they're connected to it. And you see, you can't really be connected to money. You can't really be connected to tasks, but you can be connected to a vision, to your team, to the culture. You can be connected to those things because that's what they're about, relationships, the bond, the friendship. So you need to move yourself from a manager of tasks to a leader of people. Because you think about this, I bet you've worked with somebody or you've had somebody work with you who has required very little hand-holding. They've performed very well without very little effort put into them because they're the type of person that care and take ownership and think for themselves. And so it's almost like you don't even have to tell people what to do when they're in that space and they have that type of attitude. It's almost like the work gets done without you even asking. And that's what the goal should be. And not everyone's going to be up for this. Not everyone is going to want you to know their goals or talk to them about things or challenge them on their growth or help them improve. A lot of people might not want that, but you have to be okay with them not wanting it, but maybe in the long run, they're not a fit for the business. They're not a fit for the culture. Look, we're very caring business owners. We care about our customers. We care about our team. We need people in our organization who care like we do. And I believe a lot of people do care. You have to give them an opportunity and maybe permission to actually care back. And you give them an opportunity to care back when they trust you. And they'll trust you if you've listened to them. And so this is why the mentoring piece comes in, because mentoring is more about listening than it is about telling somebody something. Listening is about being present, asking questions, being curious, being inquisitive, understanding people's motivations and what drives them and what they, helping them see what they need to do next. When you start to do that, it's a different dynamic. It's a different relationship. And people respond much better to that because now they're not a number. Now it's not a transaction. Now there's meaning in their work. Now there's purpose in what they do. And they'll support each other on the journey. And this is why I think culture trumps systems every day of the week. because when you have the right culture in place, the systems fit in very easily and seamlessly. When you create just systems and try to fit people in that, it's trying to put a cog in the wheel. Remember, it's a forest before it's a machine. It's people before it's systems. Now, in all this, I know you've probably trusted people in the past. I know you've probably given people responsibility. You've given them the tools, you've given them the support, you've given them the training, you've given them your trust, and it hasn't worked out. I understand you've been there. But if we let that dictate how we think about the future, what is the future going to look like? Because you're not going to trust yourself enough to trust other people. You see, it's very easy to say, I don't trust my team on something. I don't trust my team to do this. I don't trust them to do this. But when we think about it, what we're really not trusting is not trusting ourselves. Not trusting ourselves to be able to create the right conditions for those people to do the work in a good way. And so in not trusting others, we're actually not trusting ourselves. And so we need to give ourselves some permission to get it wrong, to break a few eggshells while we're making this omelette. Permission to fail, and fail fast, and learn, and get over it, and get back on. Because you're not just changing how you delegate here. You're changing who you are as a person, because you're changing how you lead and how you see other people, and you're hoping to inspire them to change how they see the business and take more ownership as a result. Now, if this doesn't happen, it's no biggie. You can keep surviving the way you're surviving. You can keep putting up with firefighting, keep putting up with problems. Maybe leading people is the biggest challenge, and maybe it always will be for you. And what's the cost of this? The cost of this is rushing to get everything done before you go away on a week's holidays, and it takes you 5 days to switch off, so you're really only away for 1 day's holiday because the next day you're thinking about coming home. It's not being present with your family when you go home, and even not having the headspace to think for yourself, to think about yourself, not having the time to go and go out for a walk in nature, or to go for a run, or go to the gym, not having this freedom in your week. That's what people can give you here. But the cost is it takes all that away. So you end up trapped in a business that you've built, and it's not even saleable because you can't give it to anybody, because it all revolves around you and it doesn't run without you. And when it doesn't run without you, you're constantly switched on. You're constantly thinking about the finances, thinking about, is it going to hold together? Thinking about who I need to hire next, and are they going to turn out the same as all the other failures that I've hired in the past? So it's just very draining altogether. And so in order to change this situation, you need to change how you think about it. And so to change how you think about something, a lot of it is actually subtraction. It's letting go of whatever's holding you back, letting go of some fears. So you might have to let go of the idea that I can't trust people. Okay, you might have to let go of the idea that you have to do it all yourself, that you're the only one that can get it done. You might have to let go of the idea that if you step back, things are going to fall apart. You're going to have to let go of the idea that this all revolves around me. You're going to have to start letting go of some of these ideas, clearing them. But it's not that easy, because there's a fear in all this. There's a fear of failure. There's a fear of poverty. There's a fear of rejection. There's a fear of criticism. There's a lot of fear going on in this one. This, I think, is the biggest challenge, out of all business challenges, because it's very human and very personal. Out of all the other challenges with time and money and different things like that, this one is more about you and other people. So when you can change how you show up here and how you lead yourself through this situation, you actually change your whole life if you can get over this. Because this is about intelligence, the intelligence to actually influence other people without forcing them to do things. And this starts with treating people like people, and not thinking of your business first and foremost as a machine, but actually thinking of it as a living, growing forest. And it needs to be nurtured and tended, and it's always give and take in that. I need to give it first before I receive it back. And so you have to be able to trust yourself in that. And so what does actually letting go really feel like in this? Because letting go sounds great, it's like releasing things, but you also have to let go of all identities. And maybe the identity you need to let go of most is being the harder worker in the room, being the problem solver, being the one who fixes everything. Like, how many times when people come to you with a problem or a question, do you just do it for them, or take it on yourself, or say, I'll do it myself, it'll be done quicker, or it'll be done better that way? Because all you're doing is feeding the beast here. All you're doing is feeding not a culture of ownership, a culture of dependency. And that dependency is on you, and therefore you become the bottleneck and you stay the bottleneck. So you need to let go of that old identity that you're the only one that can get it done. Because until you let that go, until you trust yourself enough to lead other people well, you're not going to be in the right energy or the right frame of mind, and you'll find the same patterns will pop up over and over again. So you need to treat yourself differently and treat this situation differently. And a few smaller things to watch out for is, like, when you're stepping back from being the center of everything, that can be that can be outside your comfort zone, quite unfamiliar. And so it won't feel needed. What happens when you don't feel needed? That's a scary thought for a business owner. And maybe you're comfortable being the dependent one, being the bottleneck. Because who are you behind that? If you're not the hardest worker, if you're not the one that has all the answers, who are you then? Where do you see your value? So you need to give yourself permission to see yourself beyond it. And this is why the last few episodes I've been talking about the idea of stop seeing yourself as the manager or the doer or the fixer. Start seeing yourself as the visionary, the leader, the grower of this forest, the keeper of it, the steward of it. And in giving yourself permission to think of yourself as the leader and the visionary, a little bit of imposter syndrome can start to come in. Like, am I really built for this? Are people going to listen to me? Are people going to think I'm lazy if I'm not in the middle of it, working hard, being busy? If I'm just sitting in my office and working on strategy stuff and working on vision, are people going to think that I'm too good for the work? Are people going to think this stuff? So you need to give yourself permission to not care what other people think. And when I say other people here, I'm talking about your team who are with you and maybe have been with you for years, or I'm talking about your peers or whoever else might influence your decision on this. You need to trust yourself to grow your people and have genuine conversations with them, finding out what their goals really are, sharing what your vision really is. Just human to human connection. Bring it back to base. Bring it back to the simplest form. And I already know that when you reflect on what you've built, the things that are going to stand out are the relationships, the connection, the reputation, the leader, the go-to in the industry, all that kind of stuff. And that's all because of people. And so you're really good at that. You're really good at it. So now you just have to transfer that strength. Allow yourself permission to do it, but do it within the business. Do it for your team. Be the one who gets them to grow your reputation and grow the brand and grow the client success stories. Get them to do all that. You be the one that grows them into that role, because you've already done it with your clients. You've grown your client success, and that's why your business is still going. So now do it within the business. Focus on your team, giving them the time, giving yourself permission to talk to them, to mentor them, to question them. I think it's also giving yourself permission to create a culture of ownership, to design what does that actually look like for me? Like, how do I want to show up when I give somebody a task? How do I want that to go? Do I want it back on my desk, or do I want them coming back saying it's done and it's been done on time to the highest quality possible? How does that look? And give yourself permission to realize that not everyone's going to be a fit for this culture. There's probably people here, if I develop this culture of ownership, this is really going to take them out of the gray area, because I guarantee you've probably one or two people who are hiding in that gray zone, that shady area, where they're hiding in the weeds, they're hiding in the busyness of it, they're hiding in the chaos. And this culture of ownership will start, you very quickly see who's on board and who's not. And you need to give yourself permission to only bring in more people who are on board with this and start to weed out the people who are not. And what will the impact of this be? Okay, this is not going to happen overnight. This is not a quick fix. If you want a quick fix to get somebody else to do something else, maybe you could shout, maybe you could roar, maybe you could just focus on systemizing it down to the very last detail. But most systems are developed for very simple processes. And I guarantee some of the roles and responsibilities in your business, it's very hard to systemize them, because there's so many different variables, there's so many different ways things could go. And so you need people who have ownership. So the impact of this is having those people on board who can actually do it. So yes, it will take a bit longer. Yes, it's going to be a bit slower. But if you trust yourself to lead other people into this zone, it will happen. I guarantee you. And if you want any help in doing this, you know where I am. Please reach out. So let's recap on this episode today. If you feel like you're the one that has to do it all themselves, like the hardest worker in the room, that it all revolves around you, you are the bottleneck, and you can't get other people to take ownership, and you're just doing more and getting busier and busier, and actually growth feels like more chaos and burnout than it does excitement and enjoyment and fulfillment, then you need to flip how you're seeing this. Because take away your focus on tasks, on the doing, on what needs to be done, and focus on developing the people. And when you develop the people, they are the ones that will get it done for you. So I'll leave you with this question this week. Where do you need to stop getting people to do more and actually start developing people more? Have a great week. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. The wisdom here doesn't come from me, it actually comes through me, from the men like you that I walk alongside. And if the conversation today landed and you would rather live it rather than just listen to it, I want to invite you to the Grounded Man Hike. It's a day in nature with a small group of founders and leaders, men who carry a lot and want to carry it lighter. And there's no slides or pitch or agenda, just honest conversation and open ground. The link is in the description below. Leave your details and I'll be back to you personally. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next week.